Your man out of Japan, Jay Contra here, and I think 2021 is going to be very significant in terms of Japanese retro games, mostly because of what I see going to come out of Nintendo. This is my prophecy for the year 2021. We'll talk about new stuff in a little bit, but first I want to talk about what games will be available to us over 2021 and what I see affecting the market on the whole, especially when it comes to Japan. Now, in the previous video, I talked about how Japan shut itself off from foreign tourism, and this was a massive shock to Japan as a whole. This was a massive shock to Japan as a whole, considering that starting in about the year 2010 to 2019, there was a fourfold increase, a 400% increase in the amount of foreign tourism to Japan. This was accompanying the huge renewed interest in retro games, meaning that what were once like $2 or $3 games in a bargain bin in a hard off in Japan then skyrocketed to be $100 cartridges, maybe even $1,000 games when they're complete in box. But what you saw in 2021 was a lot of businesses shutting down. Yamatoku shut down, so you saw a lot of outflow, not just from the tourists themselves going to Akihabara and buying up all the Neo Geo games and taking them back on the plane with them, but also these businesses that were funneling games out of Japan into the rest of the world. Those shut down as well. And with the increase in shipping costs, you saw prices for games go up just a little bit, not appreciate as much as their English counterparts. GameCube is case in point, where Japanese GameCube games are still very affordable, whereas English GameCube games have just skyrocketed in price. And I think for a lot of people, it's a really big ask for them to be collecting GameCube right now. I think this is not really going to change for like GameCube, N64, Super Famicom. But I think Wii is going to become way more collectible, especially with the renewed interest in 2020 from people who were buying up Wiis in America. I was really surprised to see how expensive Wiis were, not just in America, but also in the UK. When you're talking about, I was seeing Wiis for like $90 plus, and in Japan, you could buy them for like $20 at a hard off. Whether that will stay the case in 2021, I think there will be greater interest in the games because there is just so much stuff for the Wii that I think remains to be discovered. And considering that I have not seen many like Wii hidden gem videos out there on YouTube, I think there of course are some, but 2021 may be the year of the Wii, and we may see some games skyrocket in value, especially the sort of the quirky Japanese games that people don't really know all that much about. If, Metal Jesus makes a video about top Wii imports, Wii games are cheap right now. Wii is still very collectible, considering the most expensive game for it is like $200. That may very well change in 2021. It's just going to depend on some factors. I have heard some sayings that about a decade happened in the year 2020. And what I'm hoping is that a lot of Japanese businesses are starting to wake up and actually open up online shops for you to be able to buy games outside of Japan. Now, I'm experiencing this very acutely since I used to live in Japan for 8 years and now I do not. And while I don't want to buy any games anytime soon because I've got a huge backlog that I've got to play through, I would at least like to have the option of easily buying some games, because for a while, really, your only option was buying ridiculously expensive games through Mandarake or buying games of questionable quality through Surugaya. But I've seen that now you can buy things through Yahoo Auction or Mercari on Baiyi. And I've also seen that Beep, one of Akihabara's legendary shops, opened up a website that has international shipping, that hopefully this will be an indicator to other stores that they should be selling things online and they shouldn't just have their supply restricted to a domestic audience. So what 2021 may also see is an increase in the availabilities of supply out of necessity. Because when you look at Akihabara, when you see that there aren't any foreigners there, look at what's happening to Super Potato. I wonder how they're even able to stay in business, considering that 99% of their clientele was foreign. And seeing as there aren't any foreign tourists in Japan anymore, I don't know who Super Potato is selling games to. So we will see what happens to their franchises across Japan. 2021 might be the end of Super Potato. It'd be sad. I don't buy things from Super Potato because they're so expensive, but I still want them around because I think they do at least take care of their video games and are, I think, a great destination for people to at least look at things, if not necessarily buy them. Do I see them going out of business by the end of 2021? No, but I see them and a lot of Japanese businesses, Trader and Friends included, needing to change their business model in order to pick up with the times, because for years, places like Super Potato and Friends were just able to coast on the increased interest from foreigners in Japanese video games without really much accommodation to this foreign interest besides just increasing their prices. But things in 2021 are going to have to change because I do not see Japan opening itself up to tourism in 2021. The Olympics might happen. It might be a shell version of the Olympics where it's just the athletes competing, or they may postpone it to 2022. But either way, I don't see tourism in Japan opening up. And considering that when I'm filming this in January, Japan shut itself off from issuing new residential visas again until the end of the month because of like the new variants of the thing that YouTube's not going to let me talk about. I don't see people going back for fun to Japan in 2021, and I don't see things becoming normal, starting to return to normal until 2022, and I think it's going to be a very slow process. And this, I think, will impact what I was referring to earlier, which I see as sort of modern retro gaming, you could say, because here are my big, grandiose predictions, especially when it comes to Nintendo. A lot of Japanese companies are going to have to lean on nostalgia because all of their newer projects have been impacted by the thing that YouTube's not going to let me talk about. Meaning that they have to fill in the gaps. A lot of games were probably supposed to come out in 2020 and 2021 that are probably going to be delayed even further. Look at like what happened to movies. Look at stuff that was supposed to come out like in like the James Bond movie was supposed to come out in like April 2020. And it's not even coming out. It's probably going to come out midway through 2021 if we're lucky. I think, well, of course, video games are a different beast. I think the production cycles for these have been heavily impacted both in the design process and the production process to where I don't know what Nintendo's supposed to come out with in terms of new stuff in 2021. Of course, we haven't really had like a big direct in a long time, so maybe they're like hoarding it for a big November push. Who knows? But this is what I see happening in terms of the nostalgia-based new stuff that's going to come out in 2021. Big one is going to be Nintendo releases a virtual console. This is going to coincide with the 25th anniversary of Zelda, the 25th anniversary of Metroid. Metroid was 1986, right? Maybe not. I don't know. But also Pokemon's 20th anniversary. I think Nintendo will lead a virtual console push in like April or middle of 2021 by showcasing these massive franchises that are experiencing their anniversaries. And considering how big Pokemon has became in 2020, I think they're going to make a massive push in 2021 for Pokemon, not just virtual console releases, but also a remake of Gen 4. I want there to be a Gen 2 remake, especially considering how expensive Heart Gold and Soul Silver have become. But I don't see that happening because the thing that makes the most sense with their remake cycle is they went from Fire Red and Leaf Green to Heart Gold and Soul Silver to Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. I totally see them doing like a Mega Diamond and Mega Pearl or whatever they want to call it. That is my prediction for 2021. Although I wish there would be a remake of Heart Gold and Soul Silver, but I doubt that's going to happen. As to whether they do DS stuff on the Switch, I doubt it, but that's also entirely possible. I think what they're also going to do is because it's Zelda's 25th anniversary, they're going to come out with a Zelda Anniversary Collection, much like they did with Mario, to where they proved that they could do what did they prove? They proved they did GameCube, Wii, and N64 emulation on the Switch. I could totally see them doing ports of the Wii U's Wind Waker remake, Twilight Princess remaster, and Skyward Sword Finally, I can get around to playing Skyward Sword. I played it for like 30 minutes one day and I didn't like it, but I would like to play through it one of these days. So that's, I think Nintendo's probably it's going to be their March game. If I had to say anything, their March game is going to be a Zelda collection. Their fall game will be the Pokemon remake, whether it's Gen 2 or Gen 4, we will see. It's probably going to be Gen 4. Virtual console, I think there's also going to be a bunch of like anniversary collections because it's Castlevania's 25th anniversary, and there was supposed to be a limited run collection that was supposed to come out at the end of 2020. That didn't happen. That'll probably come out in 2021. We're going to see more collections come out for the Switch. There's a lot of stuff that's being put out on the Switch. Old stuff. We had like the Aleste collection come out. Ikaruga got ported. I think we're going to see some amazing stuff happen in 2021. What exactly happens? Only time will tell. I think 2021 is going to be a massive year for retro gaming, especially in Japanese terms. We finally have seen Japanese companies come around to the fact that the old stuff is popular. Sega was blazing trails, especially with its miniature consoles. We're not going to see a miniature N64. I made a separate video about that. It's not going to happen simply because the controller would get Nintendo into legal liabilities. And I think it would just be easier for them to make a Nintendo 64 emulator on the Switch, which they've already done, as we saw with the port of Super Mario 64. Those are my big predictions for the year 2021. Here's to hoping that it is a better year than the craptacular 2020. I hope you're enjoying your games. I'm your man out of Japan, Jay Contra. If you would like exclusive Japanese game hunting videos, you can head over to patreon.com/jcontra. There I put out once a month an exclusive video to all of my $5 and up patrons. And you can also catch streams over at twitch.tv/jcontra. Thanks for watching and mahalo.